In this video, I'm going to teach you how to manually draw a slope field. Now, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be asked to manually draw slope fields. You're going to be asked to do them on the computer. However, drawing a slope field helps you understand the concept of a slope field a lot better. So we're going to be using the example dy over dx equals x plus y, which is on the Canvas page. Now, I'm not saying that this differential equation isn't solvable with another method, but we can still use it for slope field applications. And if you're ever asked to do a slope field, to draw one manually, you're going to be given a really nice and simple example like this, where it can be really easy to detect patterns, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So now, the dy over the dx represents our slope. So instead of writing dy over dx, I'm going to write m equals x plus y. So that's how we find our slope. We plug in different coordinates, and that gives us our slope. So over here, I've written some y values that range from -4 to 4, and some x values that range, again, from -4 to 4. And I'm drawing a table to see if I can detect any patterns. Now already, I can see that if I add -4 here on the y side with 4, I'll get 0. And again, I can do that with -3 and 3. I'll keep getting 0. And that's going to give me a really nice diagonal that I can work with. So just filling in the spots. And now, once I have this diagonal, well, I can see, okay, if I add -4 plus 3, then I'll get -1. And that's, again, we can repeat that, right? -3 plus 2, -1. And so that's how we start filling out this table. If a teacher ever asks you to do this, oh wait, that doesn't go there, my bad. They'll give you something that you can easily detect, right? And so we can keep on doing this. So that's going to give me 2 plus -4 equals -2. And I can keep on filling out my table with these values. I already have almost, well, not almost, but I can already figure out how I can solve all my values right here. And I'm going to teach you how to plot them on a graph. So I took some time off from recording this to continue to fill out my table. And I pushed it all the way up here to the side in order to have a space in my whiteboard to graph. So I continue the values. Here you can see my diagonal of zeros. Hopefully you can see them. If not, still you can do this on a notebook, and it's really, really easy. It took me only about 30 seconds to continue. So here I have my axis, right? Here I have my y-axis and my x-axis, and I have a bunch of grid lines. I would recommend to do this with grid lines, because if not, it can get really, really messy. I know it's way easier to do it on a notebook or on an iPad. I know it's not super clean, but I tried my best. And I'm gonna start plotting my zeros. So this is the first value in the video that I started to get, right? Started to connect. So here I have some notes. You'll see this on the Canvas page as well. 0 equals flat, positive equals up, negative equals down. What do I mean by that? When you're doing a slope field, you're gonna do little dashes on each point. And the inclination of the dash depends on whether it's positive or negative. And when it's 0, we're just gonna do a dash like this. Little dash like that. So here I can see my x is 4, my y is -4, gives me 0. I'm gonna do a dash, a flat dash. And I'm gonna continue this pattern. So when my x is 3, my y is going to equal -3. Again, another dash, another one, and I'm just going to continue this pattern. Always start with your 0 values if you have any, because those are the easiest to plot, right? Forgot this one. Now when I have a positive number, so I'm going to start plotting my ones right here. My dash is going to go slightly upward, kind of like this. It's just an approximation, but you're going to keep on doing them slightly more upwards. So here I see that when x equals 4, my y is going to equal -3, and that's when I get the slope of 1. So we're going to do a little bit of an kind of like that. Again, these are just approximations. This is how you would do it. So now my 2, I'm gonna go even steeper with my 2. I'm gonna do it like this. Try to follow the slope on every single one. By the end of this, my little dashes are gonna be really, really steep. But I'm gonna continue. So I'm gonna plot the 3's now. Again. And now if I want to plot some negative values, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to do it downwards. So I'm going to plot my -1s. They're going to look a bit like this. And you can see I'm following the coordinates at every single point. And if I plot where the slope is -2, oops, sorry, that's what it's going to continue to look like. -3. Again, these are just approximations. But here we can already see the slope pattern a bit, right? And I'm going to teach you how to do this when you're given an initial condition. So here I'm using the initial condition that when x equals 0, y equals 0. So right here on this graph, that would be right here, right? Now, our condition has to follow the sort of pattern that our slope field has. So if it were to follow that, it would go something like this. Upwards, right? Except even though we started at 0, we also have to continue to follow our slope field. Here we can see this is when the slope is -1, right? So it would look something like this. Again, I'm just following the arrows, just approximating, and that's what it would look like. Lastly, I want to solve one more example. I'm going to do when x is -2, y is going to equal -2. Again, x is -2, y is -2, that would be somewhere here. And now if we continue to follow these arrows, it's going to point us downward like that. I hope that makes sense. And I hope it's a little easier to understand now how these slope fields work and why we're following these arrows.